this video, I'll show you how to build an AI agent team that's even better than a virtual assistant. And the best part, no coding is required. This system manages your email, answers customer service questions, and also books meeting for you. All of this while freeing you a bunch of time that you can use to do literally anything else but answer emails all day. So let's dive in to see how you can do this right now. But first things first, my name is Matt, and I'm super passionate about creating AI solutions for businesses, especially on the sales and marketing side of things. And recently I was building this system for a client, and I thought I'd share it with you guys because this is a complete game changer. Once you connect your email to the system, which is built in Relevance AI, everything's become so much simpler. And there's actually 3 different agents that we are going to cover in this hopefully video series. I'm going to cover the first agent, which is the inbox manager, in this video. So let's jump into the computer and let me show you how I did it. So here's a quick overview of how our system works, and essentially the first step, and the step that we're going to be going over on this video, is the inbox manager, which essentially is triggered whenever we receive a new email. And then the role of the inbox manager is to categorize the incoming emails and forward it to each one of the agents. So as of right now, I built this inbox manager really simply just using one tool, which is an email categorizing tool that I can edit anytime that I need. The customer service agent is a Relevance AI template, and the calendar assistant is also a Relevance AI template, and they work really well on their own. But essentially what the customer service agent does, it answers customer service questions, obviously, but it also self-updates. So if there's ever a question that this agent doesn't have the answer to in its knowledge base, it will always escalate to a human, and then once that answer is completed, it updates the knowledge base automatically. The second one is just a calendar assistant, which checks for availability of meetings and then books a meeting based on that. It also has a categorizing tool within it that checks if the email already suggests a meeting time, if that meeting time is available, if the email just suggests a meeting but no meeting time. Essentially, these 2 systems have tools within these agents that categorize further what the email means, while this main inbox manager just categorizes on a broad spectrum. And the good part about building this system like this is, as I said, is that you can integrate literally any other agent in the system that you might need. So for example, you could have a sales agent over here, an operations and a marketing or an accounting one. For example, if you receive a lot of questions about billing or returns, and you don't want those questions to be related to your customer service agent because each person, for example, might have a different type of deal or a different type of offer that they're associated with, and those answers are better associated with the accounting department with a specific knowledge base within the accounting department, you can build one over here that could be like a billing agent and use that to categorize your emails further and to answer questions more accurately. So already in Relevance AI, which I'm already logged in, we have a few agents that I've created in the past. I, by the way, created the Steve on camera if you want to go watch that video as well. But the one that we're going to go over today is Josie, the inbox manager. So let me just open up what it actually does. This is going to be a little bit of a different video because I'm not actually going to build this agent on camera since it was already built, but you can definitely access the template for Josie in the link in the description below. I'm going to leave a Google Forms over there, and you can fill it out and receive the link to Josie as well and build it on your own. So for our agent name, we have Josie, the inbox manager. Usually I will include the client's name over here as well, but there's no need for me to include that right now because this is my personal one. And this description doesn't affect any way of how our agent works. It's just a brief description of what this agent does. So it reads, categorizes, and direct emails to relevant sub-agents. So let's go over to the flow builder because I do believe that one of the best ways to explain how information flows in these systems is using the flow builder. As you guys can see, the first step that happens after we receive an email to our inbox is for the agents to read the email received. And the second step is to determine if that email needs a response. A lot of times you get notification emails. It could be like newsletter emails, or if, for example, your meeting booking agent just went through the booking process and it booked a meeting for you, you get a notification that now you have a meeting booked. Those emails do not necessarily need a response. So that's why this step is over here. This could also include a tool. I decided to just leave it like this because the complexity that I have on my email inbox is not that high. But if you do find that the tool is not categorizing it properly with the emails that need a response versus the emails that don't need a response, definitely include a tool over here that checks if an email needs a response. I feel like I've repeated email needs a response so many times now. But anyways, if it does not need a response, it will just end the task here. And if it does, this is where the meaty part starts. So the first thing that this agent will do is to run the email categorizer tool. And by the way, just a quick tutorial on how to use the flow builder. Whenever you have things over here, you can click on the plus sign to add a step, or you can also click on dash to mention a tool or mention an agent that you want to be used in that step. I have more in-depth videos on how to build this step by step, so just feel free to go ahead and watch those. But essentially, what we were talking about over here is that this step requires the email categorizer tool. And essentially, my email categorizer tool categorizes emails in one of 3 different ways, which are customer service emails, meeting emails, or other. And I've structured it like this because I can always add new categories over here. If, for example, that billing example would fall under other, I could also create an agent that has a billing category, or create the billing category within my email categorizer tool and just go ahead and use that to include it in the same flow. And then once it does receive the email, it will give the email information to the agent. As you guys can see, this says unknown reference. This is because I just imported this agent into my personal account. So meeting email will follow the information to email calendar bookings agent. And this one, customer service emails, are going to be forwarded to the customer query handler agent. Other types of emails are just going to be not answered, or essentially just answered by a human whenever they do check their email. So for tools over here, we just have the email categorizer tool. And right now it is set for an auto run because we want this tool to always be running whenever we receive emails. But let me show you on the back end what this tool does. This is the build section of the email categorizer tool. So as you guys can see, this email only has 2 inputs, which is the email content and the subject line, which is going to be automatically assigned by the agent when the email is triggered. And then a very long LLM step, which essentially outlines what type of categories we want them to be categorized as, and then a description of the categories over here. And the good thing is that when I first took this tool, I'm pretty sure there were more things over here. There were other types of categories over here, but I just decided to keep these 2 broader ones and manage it like that. So I deleted the other categories, but let's say I do add those agents, I can always come back here to the email categorizer tool and go ahead and add a billing category, for example, and then just go from there and add a description of those. And just a quick note, something good to always include in your prompts is examples of the inputs. So here, for example, we have a few examples of what meeting emails could look like. Very simple ones, of course, but I can just run you guys through these, which, for example, the first one says, "Hi Jack, can we have a meeting next Monday at 3 p.m.? Or, "Hi Jack, I'm interested in learning more about your company. Can we schedule a meeting?" These 2 are very simple examples, but very realistic ones that someone could receive in their email. And researchers have done this testing and figured out that including these types of examples actually increases a lot the accuracy of your responses by your system. So always try to include these types of examples whenever you're building these types of automations. So this is what we have for tools. We just have this one tool. As I said, I might add another one over here that's just an email needs a response. But if you are adding tools to your system, you can always just click add tool, and then you'll be able to see all of your tools that you have. And usually I filter by the company that I'm helping. So I just search the company over here and I get the tools that I've been working with. You can also just use Relevance's templates that they have ready to go, and you can pick them from here as well. But let's move on to the sub-agents portion of things, because this portion, there's actually a really important step that we need to include to make sure that the information is flowing properly from the emails that we receive to the other agents as well. So what we need to do here is to outline a template for communication between these 2 agents and make sure that the sub-agent has all the information about the email to be able to reply to it. And let me show you what that actually means. So let's say you just added your sub-agent. You can go here and add whatever one you're using. I just have this one ready to go, which is the customer query handler agent. And I'm going to go over, by the way, these two agents in a different video. I'll link them up over here when these videos are ready to go. I'm recording this one as the first video of the series. So if you're just watching it as it comes out, these other videos might not be out yet, but they will be in the future. So under the sub agents that we have over here, this is the customer query handler. It has its own instructions, its own tools, and we can select what type of approval we have. Ideally, we would just have auto run over here, but if you have a more sensitive tool, you can let the agent decide, or you can keep it as approval required as well. And what you want to do over here, you want to scroll down to this template for communication portion, and you want to start writing down the variables that you want to be communicated from the main agents to the sub agents. So over here, as you guys can see, whenever you use these hashtags, this is essentially notation for whenever you're writing HTML code, you create a new variable and then you just select that variable over here. All of the variables that we have over here create a description down here as well. Actually, instead of me explaining this, let me show you guys how to do it because I don't have it in my email calendar bookings agent. I'll just copy everything over here and I'll paste it to my template of communication. And as soon as I paste it, it automatically creates my other variables down here. So essentially, these variables are the things that Relevance receives whenever an email is triggered. So we need an email subject, and the name of the variable, I'm keeping it as subject in all caps because that's exactly how it receives. Email sender, Gmail thread ID, message ID, recipient, and last reply. These two over here, Gmail thread ID and message ID, are important because this is how the email sending tool will be able to understand which email they're going to be replying to or which email they're going to be sending to. So the Gmail thread ID, for example, is for replies. So if you do receive a customer service question and it triggers your whole system, it finds the answer and it sends it back. The Gmail thread ID just makes sure that you're sending your email as a reply instead of a new email. And once you have all of your variables laid out over here with their correct names, you just need to come down here and describe the variable. So for example, let me just pick the example from the other agent for subject, describe the subject for the agent. I just said the subject line of the original email. And we can just go over here and say the subject line of the original email. So essentially over here, just going to describe everything that you have in your template of communication to make sure that the agent is forwarding the proper information to the next agent. So now that we have the sub-agent section explained, let me go over to the core instructions. I usually leave the core instructions as one of the last things I do. In terms of order, I usually start by adding my tools over here, and then adding the sub agents if I do need them, because sometimes I'm not creating a manager agent, I'm just creating an agent that does not need any other sub agents in it. And then I go to the flow builder, build out the flow that I want it to have. And then I go to the core instructions. And a good thing to always keep in mind in the core instructions is to create or click over here in the markdown format, because this will allow you to have headers and subheaders, and just like the same idea of including examples in your prompts, this type of formatting also helps the agent create better results. And you can just use HTML type of formatting over here. So for example, if you want to have an age 1 heading, you just include one hashtag and then that will be your age 1. If you want 2, just 2, that will be your age 2. And then of course for 3, that becomes your age 3. And then here you just kind of like outlines, you just kind of format the information that you're giving to your system in a proper way that it would actually understand. You can also bold, just like I did here, using Command B on Mac and typing whatever you want to type, or italicize things as you want. So some guidelines over here for your core instructions. I always include a role. This is a common thing for prompting. And here I just kept it really simple, just saying like you're a professional inbox manager. Under task, I just outlined that it categorizes emails using the categorizer tool. And the standard operating procedures is just an explanation of what we saw in the flow builder, saying that it receives emails, it checks for the emails if they need a response, and then it categorizes them according to the categories in the tool. Okay, and last but not least, let's start by connecting our Gmail over here as a trigger. I already have an account over here, but this is a good time to mention that Relevance AI is a really good tool for just building tools that you can connect and integrate with other softwares that you have. I have no affiliation with them, by the way, but I have been using Relevance with other tools for quite some time now. For example, I have used tools that I've created in Relevance AI to connect them to different softwares like my custom GPTs, and I've actually made videos about those. So if you want, you can just go and watch them over here. But essentially, I built like a tool that could access LinkedIn, for example, and could do research via LinkedIn. And I connected that to my custom GPT because ChatGPT cannot connect to LinkedIn. There's like a wall that it hits because it doesn't have any login access information. But if you go through the relevance route, you can actually give your ChatGPT or your custom GPT that type of capability. So if you're interested in learning more about that, just go and check that out. But let's go back to the triggers over here. As you guys can see, there are many different triggers that we can use to trigger our agent. As I said, we're going to use Gmail, and I'm going to use an existing account. As you guys can see, I already have my email set up here. And honestly, if you're using a Gmail account, this is super easy to set up. It took me like 2 minutes. You just click on the Gmail account that you want out of the list of Gmail accounts that you have, and you select what you want the agents to be able to access, which in my case is just accessing my inbox and my calendar availability. Now, this is really cool over here because if you're building an email management system or an inbox management system in Relevance, there are a bunch of different filters that you can use. For example, there are 3 main filters over here that you can use. One of them is a filter email by search. So let's say you want only emails that mention billing, so you include billing over here, right? You can also include the filter for labels that you have. I don't really keep my email inbox super organized, but if, for example, you're using your service email and you have a customer service category, a billing category, a notification category that emails are automatically labeled to, you can use them over here. You can just use other type of categories. For example, if you want to include your normal inbox, your important, or I would not include any spam or drafts email over here, but who knows what you're using this for. And a different one that I would like to mention is the outreach replies only. For example, I have an automatic email that sends out whenever people request my templates. So that email, if someone replies to that email asking me a question, I could include it over here and create an agent that monitors those replies and sends me a notification via text or via Slack, for example, so I can go and reply to that person. Because maybe I am doing a focus work session and I turned off all my email notifications because I get too many emails. Or I could also look at the attachment ones. Like if I'm always, if someone's sending me PDFs and I want to build an agent that reads the PDF, summarizes it, and then sends me a message with the summary of what the PDF is about, I can also include that over here. But as of right now, I'm just going to keep this as really broad. I'm going to let it access all my emails, and I'll just skip on cadences because you can also set up a cadence of when you want your system to view your emails and when you want them to not view your emails. And I'll just confirm over here. So we will save our changes and we'll get started with our agent over here. And I'm gonna go and I'm gonna write myself an email just to test it out to see if it's receiving the information properly and if it's categorizing it properly. All right, guys, so I did send an email to my accounts to see if this is working, and it looks like it is. And it's actually really funny because I got the notification for the Google account security alert, and it received that as one of the emails received in my inbox, and it categorized it properly because, as you guys can see over here, it just says like Relevance AI was granted access to your Google account, and it just kind of ran the email categorizer tool and it categorized it as an other email instead of a booking email or a customer question email. But as you guys can see over here, this is the email that I sent to myself, and it just said, "Hi Matt, I would love to hop on a call to discuss how I can customize the templates that you offer. Are you available this Friday at 3 p.m? Best, my real name, Mateus." So Josie ran the email categorizer tool and selected it to send it over to our calendar bookings agent. And as you guys can see, it also pops up over here in this inbox to review because we selected our agent to not be on auto run, but to have a review process. This type of review process is really important if you're running like customer query questions, for example, in the beginning, to make sure that your agent is answering these questions appropriately. So it's very good to have, and I just kept it as an approval required over here because I did not set up the other agent yet. but it's good to see that it categorized it properly and it has all the information here. And as you guys remember, on the template of information that it needs to send to the other agent, all the information is here. Subject, sender, Gmail thread ID, message ID, recipient, and latest reply. And all of those fields come from over here. If you click on the how you received the message, you have the Gmail thread ID, message ID, sender, subject, recipient, and last reply. So it's very important to keep all the information that you want to be moving around from one agent to another. And I just wanted to do this quick demo to show you guys what's possible to do with Relevance AI and how you can actually start building teams on your own. So hopefully this video gave you some ideas on how you can start implementing AI into your business. And if you had any ideas, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My email is in the link down below. And you can just shoot me an email saying like, "Hi Matt, saw your video. I'm excited to get started implementing AI into my business." And we can have a chat and I'll see if I'll be able to help you out. If you are interested in how the customer query handler and the email booking agent work as well, I'm gonna leave videos for them in a playlist. I do plan on making this a video series where I build AI agent teams. So this is just the first video of that video series. And if you're seeing this a little bit ahead in the future, hopefully there is another video out and you can go to the playlist over here and check that out. Otherwise, you can just go and watch another video on the channel that I'm gonna leave over there. Thanks for watching the video till the end, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.